Of Boye have been cautioned to watch over what they eat, check the source of their drinking water, and maintain good hygienic condition after 3 cases of cholera were reported in the area on Monday, January 31, 2022. The information is contained in a press release signed by the district medical officer at the Boya Health District, Dr. Ngud Mathias. This first case was suspected on January 28 and confirmed laboratory proved that the cholera bacteria is now present and has claimed the lives of 3 and the others hospitalized. At least one match of the semi-finals of the ongoing AFCON 2021 will be played at the Olembe Stadium. The decision comes after CAF President Patrice Motsepe received a report on the stampede incident and lifted the ban imposed on the stadium following the stampede that occurred on the 24th of January 2022, in which 8 people lost their lives. More details in this report. The CAF AFCON Organizing Committee's decision to lift the suspension of the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé on Sunday, January 30, 2022, comes after the receipt of the report in relation to the circumstances with regard to the tragedy that occurred at the said stadium. The stampede incident happened on Monday, January 24, 2022, at the south entrance of the stadium before the match pitting Cameroon and Comoros. Thousands of spectators, in an attempt to get into the stadium, caused congestion at the gate, leading to 8 deaths and 38 injured, with 7 severely wounded, according to a communique signed on January 25 by Communication Minister René Emmanuel Sadi. President Paul Biya had ordered an investigation into the tragedy. Following the incident, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, CAF president, during a press conference on Tuesday, January 25, had decided to suspend the 60,000-seat stadium, relocating some matches due to be played there to the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium until a full report which explains the circumstances and events that led to the injury and death of spectators was handed by the local organizing committee by Friday, January 28. Hence, after reception of the report, the football governing body agreed to lift the suspension and allow one of the AFCON semi-finals as well as the final match to take place at the Olembe Stadium. As such, the match pitting Cameroon and Egypt for the semi-finals of the AFCON 2021, slated for February 3, 2022, will be played at the Olembe Stadium, with CAF, the local organizing committee, and the government of Cameroon confident that the safety and security of spectators and visitors will be assured. And the report on the stampede incident was handed and elaborately presented to the CAF president by the president of the local organizing committee, Narcisse Mwele Kombi. Details in this report with Joy Ngong.
At the Olembe Stadium that resulted to the death of 8 football lovers and several others wounded on January 24 during an AFCON knockout match between Cameroon and the Comoros Islands. Minister Narcisse Mwele Kombi, who doubles as the president of the local organizing committee, presented clarifications on the incident to the national and international press on Friday, January 28, 2022. After investigations carried out by an interministerial delegation dispatched to the Olembe Stadium, the minister said the late influx of spectators into the stadium was the main reason behind the stampede. According to the local organizing committee, the fans and football supporters started coming to the stadium towards 6 p.m., a situation which contributed to the congestion and traffic, motivating the forces of law and order to open the south gate of the Olembe Stadium. Insufficient security personnel has equally been attributed to one of the factors that caused the deadly stampede. However, to ensure a smooth continuation of the tournament at the Olembe Stadium, the local organizing committee has envisaged several security measures, among which is a prohibition of children below the age of 11 from the stadia, increasing the number of checkpoints and opening many access routes. The local organizing committee has equally banned the distribution of free tickets and the sale of tickets around the stadium on match days. For further security measures, stadium gates will be open 5 hours to the matches, with the publication of opening and and closing times of the gates, among other measures. Minister Narcis Mwele-Kombi emphasized that the Olembe Stadium was constructed with strict respect of international security norms as prescribed by CAF and FIFA.
The president of the lower house of assembly in Cameroon, Kavaye Jibril, has suspended the secretary general of the lower house, Gaston Komba. His position will be occupied by the first deputy secretary general, Abdullahi Daouda. The information is contained in an administrative document signed on January 28. Lasha Kingsley tells us more.
The Speaker of the lower house of Parliament of Cameroon, the Right Honorable Kavaye Jibril, has suspended the signature of the Secretary General of the legislative body. In an administrative document which went viral on the social media Friday, January 28, 2022, the Speaker did not immediately cite the reasons for the suspension of the Secretary General of the institution, Komba Gaston, but stated in clear terms that during the suspension period, the Assistant Secretary General No. 1, Abdullahi Daouda, will manage the affairs of the House until further notice. Meanwhile, a source close to the Speaker has said the suspension is as a result of embezzlement allegations, power tussle, disrespect of hierarchy, treason, just to name but these few. The embezzlement scandal rocking the National Assembly, according to these administrative documents, in which the Secretary General has been unable to justify the disappearance of close to £1 billion CFA from the coffers of the National Assembly, is just one of the reasons why he was suspended. Sources equally say Honorable Kavaye has already reportedly seized the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon on the matter and has suggested someone from the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon as a possible replacement of the current Secretary General of the National Assembly.
And in a message addressed to the Vice President of the National Assembly, Dato Theodore, the President of the National Assembly, Kavaye Jibril, has instructed the technical transfer of services between the Secretary General of the National Assembly, whose signature has been suspended, and the Interim Secretary General. The note equally stipulates that all administrative and financial documents must be handed to the Deputy Secretary General. The 2022 Administrative and Security Meeting for Boyo Division in the Northwest region took place recently at the divisional headquarters Fundong. The meeting aimed at evaluating what was done in 2021 and plan for the year 2022. Details with Charles Kebo.
The first enlarged 2022 Administrative and Security Meeting for Boyo Division in the Northwest region took place at the divisional headquarters of Fundong, chaired by Boyo SGO Fidel Tinier. The enlarged Administrative and Security Meeting to evaluate what was done in 2021 and plan for 2022, considering Boyo Division one of the epic center of the socio-political upheavals prevailing since 2016 in the Northwest region, and aware 2021 wasn't an easy year in Boyo Division, the SDO Fidel Tinier thanked collective resistance and resilience that made the division output positive in many domains. With the execution of last year's budget, Boyo Division scored 95.5%.
This meeting was the occasion to evaluate what we did in 2021 and to plan what we have to do to follow in 2022. I will start by saying that during the 2021, the Boyo administration scored very well, considering some figures. We are talking about the common entrance, the GCE, and even the first school living certificates, where we score between 78% and 100%.
The administrative and security come together that witnessed the installation of the divisional committee in charge of census. Boyo SDO called on the population to collaborate, ensure their census. The meeting, through consultation and exchange, which stakeholders gathered to assess oriented public service with focus on exemplary administration, the SDO reiterate 2022 is a year of zero administrative tolerance in Boyo Division.
We need to have present all divisional, sub-divisional, and head of services. They need to reside effectively in Boyo, and we will be making maiden visit in services to make sure that divisional delegates and their personnel are present. If not, they are aware of what they could be entitled to as negative sanction. But we will take all measures all the same to sanction positively all stakeholders, all traditional rulers, all members of the civil society who is working for the construction of a great Boyo.
Pertinent recommendations and resolutions arrived at for a peaceful, pacified, secured, educated, beautified, and developed Boyo Division. The SDO Fidel Tinie urged the hospital, royal, and dynamic population of Boyo to have a cooperative spirit so that Boyo Division be stabilized, secured, the sustainability and development of the division enhanced.
Members of the Cameroon Community Media Network Littoral Chapter have updated their skills on fact-checking, hate speech, and fake news. They were drilled recently during a capacity-building workshop in Bonanjo, Douala. Eileen Sama took part. Her report.
Peace journalists of the Cameroon Community Media Network, CCM and Littoral Branch, have gained some skills on fact-checking and countering fake news at the one-day training seminar organized by members of the network, which doubled as their first network meeting for 2022. The regional coordinator for the CCM and Littoral, Regional Yengu Etaka Esong, highlighted that it is primordial to equip the CCMN members with necessary tools to combat hate speech and fake news in order to change the narrative.
We've discovered that with AFCON at the moment, that is the African Nations Cup that is being played in Cameroon, there is a lot of hate speech, both online, on the field, and everywhere. So today we are trying to give our members the basic skills on how to fight against hate speech, on how to counteract this hate speech, because we realize that most people that carry some of these things on the social media, they don't even know the dangers of hate speech. They don't even know the impact that they are creating. So today we have empowered our members on how to do reports that will help in the fight against hate speech, so as to avoid violence, because with the hate speech that is on, it can lead to violence. So as journalists, we have the power, like the fourth estate, we have the power to change the narratives.
Alphonse Bongwa Achu, a fact-checking fellow and facilitator at the seminar, urged journalists to do their job assiduously in the midst of the proliferation of fake news during the AFCON tournament.
The take-home message here is that when you send out information that is not that brings down the image of the country, you are contributing. You are not better than anybody who is not a trained journalist. You know, we are supposed to put on our caps of citizens, but also our caps of journalists, in order to ensure that within this time lapse that Cameroon is receiving Africa and the world, we as the journalists, we are supposed to project that right image through the circulation of the right information. People have been very quick to send out information, especially with regard to issues like COVID-19, fake COVID tests that are conducted. Cameroonian journalists have been able to, they have been sending out this type of messages. But we are the ones to correct this misinformation, this fake news that is circulating.
The pressmen and women were also empowered with necessary skills on fact-checking to help them de-escalate violence.
When we talk of fact-checking, we look at some of the information that has been published, which are not true or maybe true, and we want to get the real information. So when we talk of fact-checking, we have to look at the sources. the media organs. Is it a credible media organ? We have to look at the credibility of the media organ, the credibility of that person giving you that information that we always call the source, because it does not depend on the person, because even somebody that you think that is an accountable, a big person in the society can still give you wrong information.
Meantime, the CCMN members Litera chapter shared on some measures to move the network to higher heights, implementing the principles of the network like community development and being proactive.
And out of the country, at least 10 people are reported dead in Nairobi, Kenya, after their vehicle ran over an explosive device on the highway on Monday, January 31. According to Northeastern Regional Commander George Seda, the blast occurred outside Mandera town, and police is suspecting that the explosive device was placed by El Shabaab extremists operating in the area after crossing from nearby Somalia. It is not clear how many people were in the vehicle, but health officials say the toll could rise because others had serious injuries. And Burkina Faso's military government has announced the restoration of constitutional order just a week after a coup ousted elected President Kabore. In a statement read on television on Monday, January 31, a spokesman of the military notified the population that the junta had approved a fundamental act that lifts the suspension of the constitution. The move came shortly after the African Union suspended Burkina Faso for the takeover, and diplomats from West Africa and the United Nations pressed demands for a return to civilian rule. That was it for today's edition of Prime Flash, produced by Junior Pelama. Thanks for watching, faithful viewers. You have more news stories in our 3:30 p.m. Prime Info with Gladys Bomotongina and our 6:30 p.m. Prime News with Fon Quinta. Coming up next is In the House with Eileen Sama and her ladies. Have a nice time.